my God. Man, it's very cold. Oh, baby. I know we chose to go out and walk, but if we have to huddle this closely together, I think a walk was ill-advised. Listen, I love you a lot. We're getting started on our resolutions right now. Might have been the right idea. Oh my God. Wait a second. Did you see that? No, over there. In that tree over there. I think it was a bluebird. Yeah, a bluebird. Really beautiful bird. Blue streak across the sky. You can't miss it. Oh, absolutely. Since when do I listen? I was looking up crows one day and seeing how they're like family birds. They like have families with one another and have beautiful crow families, and they respect like humans that respect them. I found that amazing. I found that to be beautiful. And then I went down a rabbit hole of different birds and what birds are in the south, what birds are in the north, what birds are cold birds, what birds are hot birds. Rabbit hole, such a rabbit hole of birddom. And well, I found the bluebird. More specifically, eastern bluebirds, okay? Most of the United States have them, and you can usually find them in patchy vegetation, really big trees like these ones over here, typically in box nests, nest boxes. Meadows, oil fields, golf courses. You'll find them everywhere. And obviously, we're near a golf course, just around the bend. But this is a meadow too. See that flat land over there? That's all meadow. Just because there's trees over here, this path goes around that meadow. So, yeah. The reason I say that it was weird to see them out here is because typically they'll be on like power lines, fence lines, standing upright. Yeah. And they're fast. They're fast. See, I think oftentimes, especially in the winter, it's hard to see what you're gonna eat. So these bluebirds, they go quick and they go back to where they were at. Typically, I was thinking about seeing if I can't find one. It was so bluebird. I love blue. I love the color blue, one of my favorite colors. But I wanted to see if there was one somewhere in your backyard. It's possible. It's possible that they are, but putting feeders out in the backyard is always a difficult prospect, and it's hard to see. But yeah. But it's always interesting because when you look at the bluebirds, right? The way that they attract people, attract the opposite, is always interesting. The bluebird displays his nest to attract a female. He brings a bunch of like nesting material, like it's like as if they're bringing in a home and standing outside of a house and flexing, saying like, hey, look, ladies, I have this lovely mattress in my house. I have a nice couch. You want to get on this couch? Yeah, that's exactly what he does. They bring in nesting stuff. They bring in a bunch of things that look comfy. The male bluebirds bring a bunch of oversized hoodies, and put it and dangle it in front of the house door and say, hey ladies, don't you want to steal one of my hoodies? Wink wink. And I mean, they are successful. They're very successful because apparently bluebirds brood more than once a year. Mm-hmm. More than once a year. That's like having two. That's a lot. That's a lot. Mm-hmm. But they're everywhere. One of my favorite things about them is just that fact that they try to attract people by attract like the love those ladies like, hey, I have this comfy beanbag. You want a comfy beanbag? I have this sofa that looks like Snorlax. You want a part of this? You want this? I think. Do you think it's a good strat? I think it'd be a good strategy to be like, hey, ladies, do you want a little bit of this really comfy blanket I bought at Target? It's still, I just washed it and it smells like flowers. Yeah. It's really interesting too. They're everywhere across the eastern North America. And they go down like, apparently Nicaragua. And they go all the way north. But they're way more common in the east and southern states. Right? They eat insects like more normal birds and fruits and berries. Mm-hmm. But they also eat like, sometimes they eat like shrews, salamanders, lizards, snakes, maybe some tree frogs. Mm-hmm. So omnivores, basically. They eat a lot of stuff. And I guess they can live like dogs or whatever. They're like 7 years old, right? But apparently the oldest one was like 10 years and 6 months. Pretty cool. They must have been really taken care of. Must have really been loved. But they're so beautiful to look at. That color blue looks beautiful on them. Now, what kind of bird do you think you'd be? I think the bluebird is pretty good. I like the bluebird. First of all, it's blue, my favorite color. But there's just little guys. They're just little guys. And even the ladies, the females, the bluebird females, they look pretty cool. They look really nice. Because the male bluebirds, like almost fully blue, right? Where the females, they're mostly brown. But the wings are blue tipped. And that looks cool, you know? It's like the inverse. You can like tell that one not belongs, but they are part of the same family because of the way that the feathers look, right? I just find it really amazing that, like, even as we're going down this trail, there's a possibility that we find these really beautiful birds, like the cardinals. Cardinals are pretty cool. Like, if you really think about it, cardinals are awesome. I'm not sure if you will be able to see cardinals during the winter. You know, it's really interesting, right? Because I'm thinking about the complete opposites of, like, the bluebird. And, yeah, I think cardinals, the reason I think of them is because I've seen them in movies, and they're always around in, like, the snow scene, you know? They're always in the snow scene. They're always in the little, like, oh, it's snowing. There's a little cardinal. What a beautiful day. Have you noticed that? I've noticed that. But it's interesting because the same way that bluebirds have the male species being mostly red, female cardinals are the same way, right? So the male cardinals are mostly red, whereas the female cardinals are mostly brown. But it's really interesting because even if you like look for them, for some reason, it's hard to see them. They're really good at hiding, right? Unless they're like right in front of you, or they fly in front of you, right? So it's really, really cool. They hide in like dense foliage and tangles and stuff. It's really cool to know. But yeah, usually those though, it's been told, it's been said many times, as long as you have some kind of appropriate feeder, you're probably gonna see a cardinal or two. As long as you live, obviously, with. I think the most of the things is I think their range is like eastern United States down to the eastern parts of, Central America, Mexico. Yeah. But yeah, it's so interesting to know. They're very similar. Well, however the blue jay or the bluebird does it does go south for the winter. They do migrate a little bit, whereas I'm pretty sure that the cardinal does not. A little bit of a stronger bird, a little bit more of a robust bird. The really cool thing about cardinals is that once they are mated, the the mates sing with each other. They sing like songs together, and they're fairly complex songs once they are together for long enough. Which, yeah, it's really interesting that they have complex songs, but they can't recognize their own reflection. They recognize that they're mated. They love each other so much. They recognize that that person is beautiful, but my own reflection, God, okay, damn it, they can't. They attack their own reflection. It's weird. It's interesting. It's always the least things. It's always the smallest things that you never really expect to hear from these like weird things. But it's really interesting to note though that it comes with the territory, because I think I've heard somewhere that they're very territorial, right? So when they see the reflection, they probably think, "Oh, this is my place. This is my tree," and they start attacking the tree, right? So like you see that, you're like, "Oh, now I get it. Now I understand." I don't know if that exists with bluebirds. Maybe it exists with bluebirds. I didn't see it. I don't know. Again, I went down a rabbit hole looking for crows. So there might be a correlation. Who knows? But yeah, one of my favorites is that bluebird, just because of the way they look. But that's, obviously after the lovely downfall of my brain, because, man, there was so much there. There's so much of like just birds out there. Now I understand birding. I understand why birding's so popular, because this is kind of cool, to find a really cool looking bird and understand those guys are pretty cool, or girls, or whomever. They're really cool, and it's I dip my toes into the little landscape that is birding, and I cannot, but I understand, Absolutely. All right. Before I freeze my hands off, let's get back inside and maybe make some hot cocoa. That sound good? Yeah. Hello, people of the internet. Welcome. I am KICdude. Hope you enjoyed this little hyperfixation thing. I know that it's a little bit of a weird topic. Of course, it's like a hyperfixation thing, but I thought it was an interesting one for sure, because it's very true. I did hyperfixate on this because I looked up stuff for crows, but I only went I dipped my toe in it, and then as I looked up stuff for this audio, I was like, oh, there's a lot of stuff here that I could talk about. Okay, let's just go for it. So my question for you is do you want more of this hyperfixation stuff? Again, this was just a whim. I thought it was just interesting, so I made an audio about it. But if this kind of like nerding out on different topics interests you, let me know. I would be totally glad to make more of these little tiny hyperfixating boyfriend audios for you. Okay? So thank you so much for watching. If you guys like what you see, love me, I love you back. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.